Oh shit. Didn't know it was live. What's up, y'all? Uh, it's before I have to go back in. I got a loved one at the hospital. What's up, Machiavelli? Uh, so I just thought I'd uh, raise a ram. I thought I'd share a little bit of thoughts. It's been a minute. Haven't had the opportunity to do any vids for a while. But so I headed this one. Where's Tupac's family? I think, as I've said before, I think everyone that knew him has many untold stories, and I think his whole family, his sis, his brother, his cousins, his aunt, all of these people have stories that will at some point work their way into the fabric of his legacy, because who better to talk about Tupac or share stories about Tupac than his inner circle and his family, you know? The people that grew up with him, the people that knew him from the time he was a baby. And I think these are sort of the important stories, aside from footage and photos and movies and songs that he did himself. I've said this before, had Luke and Peter and Michael and whoever else wrote books of the Bible, if they hadn't written all of these, we wouldn't know shit about Jesus, right? Because when you think about it, they say that the first thing that was written about Jesus was written 60 years after he died. First thing written about him. And that's even, the printing press wasn't invented, I don't think, till like 13 or 1400 BC. So whatever was written about Jesus 60 years after he died, before that was all word of mouth. And you all played that game when 10 people would sit in a room, preferably with a little alcohol or weed, but one person whispers something into one person's ear and the whisper continues, and by the time it gets to the other room, it's a whole other fucking story. So, one of my problems with organized religion is these books apparently were written over 1,000 years. So Pac's been gone 25 years, and a gang of shit's been written about him, but I don't think what's been written about him has been the complete story. I think it's just been a very small fragment of the real story of what I like to call the onion that we know as Tupac, because I think only a few layers of that onions have been peeled back. There's a whole host of stories and so much important and so many important lessons about him that have yet to be shared. And I believe from the bottom of my heart, from my gut, God willing, soon a lot of these stories will come to light, because I think you all who love Pac, you all who are loyal to Pac, you all who are soldiers and ride with him, will sort of get even more out of these stories, because you'll get more of his essence and more of the truth, as opposed to what the money makers and the sensationalists have done, I mean, look at all these fucking trolls online that have used their conspiracy theories. Some of them have created like businesses for themselves, just talking shit about Pac. So I think after 22 years, it's high time that the truth starts coming out, and I will be of service and help in whatever way I can, at least visually help those stories told, because I think it's high time, you know what I mean? What was Death Row East on leave? Pac on leave. I wrote the letter that he signed that I faxed, firing David Kenner 2 weeks before Vegas. Yasmin Fuller had me write that letter, and his assistant Molly was around for that as well. But you know, karma's a bitch, man. Look what happened to Suge. I don't give a fuck. You know, first and foremost, I don't understand people that are big fans of his when they say he got Pac out. That wasn't his own money. That was advances against Pac's own royalties. I think Suge 100%. Are you kidding? Why would he not be mad if Pac was leaving? Pac would have been leaving with a couple hundred unreleased tracks. And then, you know, who put all those Machiavelli albums out, those underground albums, those raw, unmastered albums after Pac died? That was Death Row. So, you know, I don't know who killed him, but whoever killed him fucked up, because not only did they create the most fucked up karma for themselves, but they took one of the most important human beings out of the game. Because at 25, he'd achieved so much more, so much. By 50, that motherfucker would have been just the most self-actualized, of service healer. And look, I'm making assumptions and being hypothetical, but I'll tell you this. His last conversations were all about transformation. His last conversations were about being a public servant and helping change the system. So he was already on an adjustment and trying to get on the right frequency for him. And I guarantee you, being off death row would have given him clarity and the autonomy that Suge paid for whatever he's done. What are you talking about, dude? Suge didn't pay for shit. Suge paid with royalties. Suge paid for it doesn't. Who gives a fuck who paid for what? When you're talking about Tupac, it's like, you know, some people take credit for Tupac's greatness, or that they signed his first record deal, or they did that. Who gives a fuck who signed it? Look, I could sit here and say, oh, I did Pac's biggest videos, and I shot a bunch of footage, and I shot a whole bunch of photos. Yeah, I'm talented. I'll tell you, I'm talented. But any other motherfucker that was lucky enough to be around Tupac would have gotten a piece of that history. So, you know, they got Big Richie Wright at MGM leaving. You know, Reggie Wright, David Kenner. I heard David Kenner, the lawyer, is dying of prostate cancer, right? This was a mob-affiliated dude that had Pac write a contract at Dannemora on 3 pages of white paper, and that was a 3-album deal. That contract in itself was what's the word I'm looking for? That contract was a conflict of interest, because Kenner was Suge's attorney, he was Pac's attorney, and he was a part owner of Death Row. Yeah, Pac was 25. What's your point? Brother, what's your point? Pac was 25, and he was a genius, but he also was emotionally insecure in some ways. And I think that's probably from a lack of male energy or a father figure. What I said was Suge had his karma for whatever he's done, that's bad. Suge's got, look, I mean, I remember in the early 2000s where some gang affiliate motherfuckers that I knew, yeah, but he's dying. You know what I mean? He's dying. So point being is, I don't give a fuck how much money you think you're putting in your pocket. Eventually you gotta pay for your fucking karma, dude. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't give a fuck if Suge had $200-300 million in the bank. Look at him now. Look at David Kenner now. I would rather go to my Suge personally comes from America being the way he's yeah, I mean, look, Jay-Z and Diddy, all of them, to me, they have what they have because they probably did a deal with the devil and promised not to cause any geopolitical waves. Had someone been able to tell Pac to just simmer the fuck down, Pac would have stayed alive. Pac would have gotten off of death row like Dre did, or Snoop even did. And by now, he would make Jay-Z and Diddy look insignificant, not only financially, but politically, and as far as his sheer might. Because like I said before, I guarantee you, if he hadn't already bought an island or a country, Kenner living good? I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know if Kenner's living good. Have you seen pictures of the dude? Have you seen what he looks like? Who gives a fuck if you've got money, if your soul is dead and you're slowly withering away? A slow death is a worse death. So I don't, you know, if I gotta get real sick, or if it's time for me to go, I want to go quick. I don't want that shit to last 20 years. Fuck that. Karma works that way. Karma look, when I was young, I did dirt. I had a shady buddy. We did a lot of fucking credit card shit, and I got payback for that. I know exactly when I've done. I wasn't talking about money. Shook doesn't deserve the shit that's happening to him. Dude, I had heard Shook was related to 35 murders. I know people who have relatives that were 86'd by him or on his command, or that have done life prison because of him. You know, you could defend him all you want, but fuck Suge. I've never been a Suge fan. Fuck that. Why did Pac have karma though? Dude was living healthier. So karma. So the Jews have got a book called the Book of Kabbalah. The Book of Kabbalah talks about the concept of karma and says how we fuck up is we think karma is something that's going to happen in a week or a month or even in our lifetimes. The Book of Kabbalah says that karma sometimes can take multiple lifetimes, or even your kids and your grandkids will have to pay off your karma. So Pac being taken out might have been a lesson for us as humanity. That's kind of, but he's also turned eternal. He's always going to be 25. But Pac made some fucked up choices. And I think had Pac made better choices, or if he had counsel around him, how do you know fucking how Kenner's living, dude? What do you live with him? Yeah, look, I'm not saying the cops aren't corrupt, dude. I mean, Pac said it best. He said the largest gangs are the politicians, the preachers, and the police force. He said that. Did you see the G-Funk documentary? No, I need to see that. No, I mean, look, I don't know about all these fucking theories. I know FBI had a big file. I got the CD. I opened it once on Pac. FBI's got a massive file on it. Why is this acting a fool? Because Suge's son is looking for 15 minutes of fame. He's trying to be a rapper? But, you know, if you don't have talent, you don't have talent. It doesn't matter what the fuck you say or your 15 minutes of fame. I could very easily get all sorts of media coverage by making some ridiculous statements. But what's the point? You know, if I'm not, the only reason I'm doing what I do for you guys is because one, that are close to me will like I'm insignificant, I'm small in the Tupac story, but I sort of like even from my story or my experience with it deserves to be shared because I felt like I was a part of his inner circle. I felt like I was one of his soldiers. You know what I mean? So, did you put out the All About You original video? Yeah, I produced that and I edited that with the director Marlene Ryan. So I produced most of the videos Tracy and I did. She was the client liaison. I would do all the post-production, and I directed a few. Made Niggas and Two of America's Most Wanted. But, you know, truth always comes out, you know. I don't spend time. What songs? I saw Pac record all the One Nation album, which, I mean, I know it's been leaked, but damn, that motherfucker needs to come out with a documentary. This podcast claiming a picture, Edie wasn't saying nothing. I mean, look, I don't know what Edie and Noble do. They can say what the fuck they want. But Molly being in charge, and what's your opinion? Yeah, I can't speak on Molly. God bless her soul. What else? Diddy is behind both Pac and Biggie's deaths. I mean, I've heard Sugar was responsible, or the government, or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? But what I do know is Orlando Anderson's Cavi is a good friend of mine, and a couple of years after Pac shooting. Sorry about that. Lil Wayne. Yeah, I'm not a big Lil Wayne fan. Hey, Go, what do you think about the shit froze? Just say something really interesting. And he was just about to say something. Sorry, I got a call from the wifey. You gotta answer the wife here. It's the kind of trouble you don't want to fuck with because you can't really. Anyway, it's kind of strange. Your pop's being sentenced to 28 years, and then let's get some clout. Say that again. Sorry, what are you talking about? You talking about you're talking about Suge's kid. Yeah, I don't fuck with people like that. I don't fuck with Reggie Wright. I don't fuck with Suge. I gotta eat fucking apple. Yeah, so the conspiracy shit I don't really give a fuck about. I know Pac's not here. If Pac was here, he wouldn't have been silent. You guys, I'm telling you, anyone that knew him would know that he couldn't be silent for more than 5 minutes. There's no fucking way Tupac would let 99% of that. What were you saying about Orlando? Oh, so Orlando's cousin Cavi is a producer that I've known for eons. And he told me Orlando called him. When he talked to Orlando said, dude, after that beatdown, those motherfuckers beat him down. He's like, I was black and blue. All I could do was go lay up in my hotel room. I had nothing to do with that killing. But he said that since it was giving him so much street cred or whatever the fuck, he just went for it. He was like, yeah, I took the credit for that shit. So that kind of a story, when I hear it from someone I trust, from his own fucking first cousin, I mean, you know what I mean? To me, that was an orchestrated hit. Because everyone that I've spoken to, a gangbanger would not have just shot Pac at such close proximity or been so accurate. Suge would have gotten hit with at least 2-3 bullets. And Suge never had a bullet in his head. So there's shit right there makes no sense. I was there at the hospital when the nurse pushed Suge right by me and took him upstairs. And an hour before that, she had said, I don't know what the fuck Keith D's situation is, but I'm just telling you what I know. I can't speak on what anyone else says or knows. You can't have a baby on the 6 million albums, but the catalog was Orlando's. So look, Suge has said for years, he's had a bullet in his head. An hour after I got to the hospital, after Nate Dogg told us Pac and Suge had been shot, ran to the hospital. An hour later, Reggie, David Kenner, Suge's mom and dad, Suge's team were all there. Nurse came out, said, ma'am, to Sugar's mom, ma'am, your son got hit with a piece of shrapnel, probably glass. We're going to stitch him up and take him to a private room in an hour. That's it. And then she turned to us and said, Pac, unfortunately, is not the same condition. His right lung had to be taken out because it was punctured with a bullet, and then he's going into a serious reparative operations. Do you think all the English people hear about the potential? Dude, I don't know. I don't run the estate. You'd have to ask them. No, like I said, there was Orlando the Vlad interview. Yeah, I mean, again, Orlando got taken. I mean, look, I can only speak on what I've heard, and I will share that. Why no, never a funeral? They had their own funeral. I wasn't invited to his funeral. In Malibu, they had a little beachside service. So it was a funeral. I mean, what was suspect to me is why they had him cremated the next day. 100% there was more than just Orlando. 1,000%. Look, 4 black dudes in a white Cadillac shoot the shit out of a car on the Vegas Strip and no one sees anything and the cops don't do shit? Come on, man. That's like everyone's involved in that situation, right? Because I've heard you can't do a hit. Yeah, I heard the Outlaws smoked his ashes, or some of his ashes, and the rest was buried in Lumberton, North Carolina, at his mom's farm. I've heard that people say that Vegas isn't a mob town anymore. Mob still got a lot to do with it. He even said he doesn't believe that Pac went to Orlando and started the fight. I mean, a lot of people think Gaddafi's the only eyewitness to Pac's shooter, the guy that said he'd come back to Vegas and identify the killer. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Kevin Gaines killed Pac. In my opinion, Kevin Gaines. Yeah, again, I can't tell you. There's 1,000,001 theories, but I think the important thing that people forget, U.S. is a mob town. That's so true. That's so true. America is the gang that runs the planet, to be honest with you. Actually, big business and corporations are the true gangsters, because those are the motherfuckers that run the show. I wish they would have brought Pac back to Cali like it brought Big. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that whole thing was suspect. Even his mom taking him off of life support. I mean, I understand that he was having cardiac arrest and she took him off because she wanted him to be free, but I'm like, let the motherfucker gain consciousness and see what the fuck he wants. You know what I mean? Did Pac know Baby Lane prior to the fight? I don't know. I can only speak on the shit that I know. Any sort of Layla performance is really good except from the DGP. Yeah. But anyway, that's kind of all I got for you this time. Again, hopefully Pac's inner circle and his family get an opportunity to share their stories, because that's the truth. The conspiracies and who shot him and all that, I mean, that's great if that shit's figured out, but that doesn't really share with you the true Tupac and who he was. You know what I mean? It's the stories from childhood. What was he like? What was he like for his cousins? What was he like for his aunties? What was it like for him and around him when the Black Panther struggle happened? What was it like when his mom was addicted to crack? You know what I mean? There's a shitload of kids to this day that have to deal with fucking parents that are on drugs. Why not share what Tupac's experience was like? If that motherfucker could achieve so much and he still had the addiction, betrayal, and loss in his family, then anyone could achieve that. Why not have some fucking therapeutic stories about that shit? That's the shit that people need to hear. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll tell you what though, it's frustrating as fuck. it's frustrating as fuck because it sort of feels like it's almost been 25 years and none of that truth has come out yet. Yeah, I think a series on Pac is a great idea. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Maybe someone will get that done. But stay tuned. And you know, one thing that frustrates me is motherfuckers are like on YouTube. They're like, yeah, put all your footage out on YouTube. Don't be so selfish. What kind of stupid fucking shit would that be? If I didn't give a fuck about Tupac, yeah, that shit would have been sold 20 years ago. But I love dude. I fucking loved him like a little brother, and I was willing to put myself in harm's way because of him. Do you think I'm gonna upload a lot of unseen footage on YouTube for some fuck that's sitting at home that wants to get his jollies over seeing some shit that's never... Come on, what the fuck? I'm a filmmaker. Go look me up and look at the shit that I've done. There needs to be a story. There needs to be context. Go watch Quincy Jones's documentary on Netflix. That's what the use of footage is for. It's so you can share an accurate depiction of the individual. So my footage on its own is, that's what my footage on its own is. But my footage with a gang of interviews from people that knew him or around at that time, that's where the value comes. So that's it for now, y'all. I gotta eat a little food and go back into the hospital. Be safe. Study Tupac. Study his shit, man. Study his lyrics, and watch as much of the interviews as possible because there's hidden gems in there. None of us may be able to be Tupac, but all of us can tap into that divinity that he had coursing through his veins. We all have that. I got a family member at the hospital. That's what's up. It's good, Ron. It's good that you study him. Hopefully more people will. Funny story, a buddy of mine, a Jewish Iranian kid by the name of Arvon, started the first class at Berkeley, med student, right? He enrolled, or he tried to apply, grade A fucking student, but tried to apply into a couple of Ivy League schools back east. When they found out that he had done a Tupac class, they wouldn't let him in, which is fucking bananas. But even Arvon has dissected every word that's ever come out of Pac's mouth in poems or lyrics, and he's got phenomenal knowledge. That's the kind of shit that needs to come out. Thank you, yo. Thank you from bottom of my heart. Yeah, hospitals and sickness suck, but may you all live long and prosper. Keep your heads up. Shoot for the moon, because even if you get halfway up, you've gotten past most everyone's expectations. 100%, 100%. Thank you. Keep it west, y'all. One love. Speak soon. I got a fucking finger. Much respect over sharing. Keep it chance to show the other side of the pot. Dublin. Coming to Dublin soon. I'll see you in Ireland, brother. We'll have some Guinness together. Fucking love Guinness, my favorite beer. One love.